So you might be wondering, where were we tonight? Well, I've got a good explanation for that. If you ever remember the movie Money Train with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, that's what my experience felt like tonight. But we have a special Tonight Show with Sportswire Radio Edition. And to kick things off for us, we've got one of the guys that's in a company that's certainly making a lot of waves here, and some nemesis, some legend that's got all these hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of followers is now joined and is looking to add some championship gold. But the good thing for him is he's not trying to take that BYCW Intercontinental Champions gold here. I'm going to talk about that with our guest. I'm going to most certainly talk about the Southern Viking and Skippy Moonlight. And I'll talk about who knows whatever else here on a special edition here, the Tonight Show with Sportswire Radio. And since we are here, and we are still here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you and everybody else here in the chat has most certainly helped build, and I had rather an eventful last 6 or 7 hours, I am going to give you now and everybody else that introduction, because after all, it wouldn't be a Sportswire Radio show without it. And since it's your lucky day, champ, I'm going to give you that ring introduction, and maybe you'll have a few things to say over the next 20 or 30 minutes about some of your opponents, or maybe some of your would-be opponents, and maybe you'll even talk about some guy that's a nemesis. But until then, you're there. You're right there, and I'm going to give you that introduction. And ladies and gentlemen, to quote Def Leppard singer Joe Elliott, let's get rocked tonight here, baby, on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all wrestling matters. Let's get rocked. So we're without further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, Sports Show. A man that is one of the rising stars in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit. He's the reigning, defending BYCW Intercontinental Champion of the World. His name is simply put, Austin. Give me a hell yeah! Austin words. The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful on this amazing title run that I've had, even though, it's pretty short, but it's still going a long way. And, I got a couple things to say about my
A couple of things to say about it. Well, you're in prime time, and tomorrow night I've got the IMF Superstars here, which I'm actually in their show. I'm going to have a major announcement there, so you want to tune into that. That'll be around either 9:30 or 10 o'clock Eastern time, and I'll have a major announcement for a guest coming on here that'll definitely probably break the internet, but we'll certainly leave that for tomorrow's show. Yeah, you better come here with receipts tonight. You're here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, everybody else here in this chat, and BYCW most certainly helped build here, Sportswire Radio. So let's get to it here. And for those that are listening and watching in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you right now are on, Austin Edwards, the reigning defending BYCW Intercontinental Champion. What is next for you? And especially coming up here at 420 SmackDown.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait till I end up facing my two opponents. It's gonna be wild. I got some things coming up that people are not gonna expect from me.
Not expect. Well, you've certainly won the title in unexpected fashion because you used Dalton Skull's twist of fate basically to win that championship. But you've certainly been dogged of late. You've been going back and forth the last few weeks on BYCW TV. We'll put it up here shortly with two men. One of them that's here in the chat right now. Let's just put it that way. In Southern Viking and Skippy Moonlight, and talk about your opponents and what do you want to say to them?
You know, I respect you two boys. I really do. But come 420 SmackDown, my title is coming home with me, and it's true. And as always, as Kurt Angle always says, it's true. It's damn true.
Well, we'll find out. But you've had an interesting last few weeks on BYCW TV. But I kind of am not sure which way the wind blows with you right now. I mean, do you want to talk about that for the audience?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll see what's going to be cooking up.
But so where you've kind of had I don't really know where to go with you in terms of just this championship run, how you've been basically representing yourself on BYCW TV. So now you've got to deal with two men, and how are you going to figure it out?
Just simple. I'm just going to go in, clean them out, get them done.
Clean them out.
I'm on. I don't know if this is restricted, but I'm gonna gut them.
You can say whatever you want. I do have a special button that goes like this, but you can say whatever you want here. But that's fine. Let me ask you though this question: what does it mean to you to be the BYCW Intercontinental Champion?
It means a lot. Very, very, short one.
You've been champion for about a month. Yep.
Took me a minute to get that go, but since I got it, I made sure I'm holding it for a while.
And why exactly do you want to hold on to it for a while?
Because with that championship, so many people have held that championship, and I have beat the same people that has held it. I have beat Dalton School, which was singles, my first singles match.
You came right in this company. You came in here with a lot of hype, and you came in here with where a company right now has gained a lot of momentum. And Dalton Skull we'll get to here in a minute, but I mean it's a long list of champions that have held this belt, and BYCW is going on 10 years.
It's crazy. I wish I could have got it sooner, but I just now discovered it due to a superstar on there, which is Drake Steele.
Yes, I know Drake.
He introduced me to it, and once I found out what it was, I looked it up, and I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "They actually do, like what he says." So I went up there and showed him what I got.
What does it mean to you to be a part of a company that's been here as long as BYCW has? There's a lot of companies that are in backyard and underground wrestling, but right now, currently, if you think about the landscape in the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit, there is maybe one or two, at most, maybe, that come on my platform that have been around as long as BYCW. BTW in some form has been around for about the same time, and there's DBW. But obviously BYCW has been around almost 10 years, give or take a few months. And what does it mean to you to be a part of a company that's been around as long?
I'm grateful for it because a lot of people don't know this, but I have a disability. It's cerebral palsy.
Okay. And how did that? Obviously, that's something that Jim Ross has dealt with famously, and it's something that is a serious thing that can seriously deliberate, and impact people. I mean, so how does that impact your career and such?
It kind of impacts me like a little bit, but I try not to think about it. I just let it move on because they accepted me. The
Yeah.
whole BYCW roster, they accepted me for who I was and what I can give them.
Was that important to you before we get back into some of this, that the roster accepted you for who you were
Yeah,
and didn't judge you for maybe a disability that you have?
they I'm glad that they didn't judge me. I'm glad that they took me in, like they took me in like I was like a stranger, and they
Yeah.
like they brought me in like I'm a brother now.
Were you worried that they may not have accepted you?
Yes, I was very worried. I was
Why?
I was
Why?
worried that I didn't get you know the time that I was like hoping, or I was hoping like not like hoping, but I was worried about a lot
Well,
of
you
things.
never know. You go into a situation, you don't know the people, and I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of documented things about different locker rooms and different companies, but BYCW, by and large, is a welcoming atmosphere, and you've certainly been a part of it here. But you're dealing with a whole list of different people, and I know that some of your opponents are here right now at the moment. But I mean, difficult though to retain a championship though with multiple people. You know, some would say that your odds of retaining the title on April 20th is only 33.3% of one and third. I mean, I know you're not going to do the Steiner math on here for us, but I mean, how are you going to be able to deal with the numbers game?
I'm gonna let them do their business, and as soon as they get done, I'm gonna come in, clean up, get out.
Well, you certainly are doing some of that on here with Southern Viking, but I mean, are you concerned at all that your opponents, because they've wanted your championship and have had different issues with you over the past few months, that maybe they'll team up and take you out and fight for that championship amongst themselves?
I'm just gonna say this:
Yeah.
both of them, I think that they're both jealous of me
Why
because
are they? Why do you think they're jealous of you?
I'm the one that has the title around my waist. I am the one that's been busting my ass around BYCW to
Well,
earn.
they've been doing that too. They've been a part of BYCW's success, and they've been successful. So, what makes you different in that they're more jealous of you than you really may think?
The Southern Viking.
Let's talk about it.
He has not been there in God knows how long.
Yep.
He makes a surprise appearance.
Yeah.
Let me think. Which pay per view was it?
Well, while you do that, I'm going to put the BYCW YouTube channel. So if you'd like to give a sub to BYCW and join us here, we will have a guest on in a little while that'll follow up here after Austin Edwards. But hit the sub button for us and support BYCW, and we'd appreciate that very much. But obviously, Southern Viking hasn't been around. He's come back, but Skippy Moonlight, you've recently wrestled in singles action. And maybe what you're counting on is that recent victories over the likes of Skippy Moonlight will carry you to retain the championship next week.
let's see.
Yeah. So maybe by you wrestling Skippy recently and being in action with him, that'll help you in terms of retaining the title next week. Hello?
Let's let's
Yeah.
just say that with what they're doing to me and mine and their matches, they're just messing up because what they're doing is I have a playbook plan.
Oh, you have a playbook plan. Now, don't reveal the playbook on here, but you've
I,
got a playbook, huh? Interesting.
I have a playbook, and when that playbook comes to play, you will soon see that the one and only, the true BYCW Intercontinental Champion that was supposed to be champion during the 10-man battle royal. I'm getting back to that. Southern Viking came back,
Right. Yep.
made made a surprise appearance.
Yeah.
He throws me out.
Yep.
I was very 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 mad about that,
How
and
much have you thought about that?
I thought about that a lot. you know, I thought about, he comes back and now he's champion.
Yeah.
So I myself took the championship off of him, pinned him 1, 2, 3
Yep. Last month.
middle of that ring, and now he thinks that he is going to win at 420 SmackDown. I
Mm-hmm.
have, I have respect for both of them. Don't get me wrong, but boys, I'm sorry, but that title is staying home with me.
Obviously, you've thought a lot about what's going on, and especially with Southern Viking, and obviously you also have been in action recently, as I stated, with Skippy Moonlight, and we've put some of that up. We do have some people here in the chat. We'll definitely get to them, but obviously, do you go back and watch the footage a lot?
Yes, I go back and see what's going on. I go back and how do I word it here?
You go back and watch it as a way to help you prepare for what's to come next week. You go
Yeah.
out there, yes, you go out there, you watch what you've done in the past to help you feel like you're going to go out there and retain this championship because, again, it means a lot to you. And there's no question your opponents are more experienced, they're veterans, and they want to go out there and take away what was theirs. And also, on top of that, show that you're this young guy, you're the rookie. You've been here in BYCW just for a minute or two, and they want to make an example of you. So that's why you're watching the tape. You're showing that you've got victories over them, and that's going to motivate you here. And that's really what it comes down to. That would be what I would be saying, and I think that that's probably what you're going to do here coming up.
Yes, that is exact. You are right. That is exactly
Oh, I
what.
know I'm right. I'm in the world of politics. I know how to do. I have a legal background. I know how to present cases and speak. I
Hey
took
there.
law in college, so that's what I'm going to do. As your lawyer, I'm going to speak for you tonight, on some of these things, and say basically that what you're going to try to do to Southern Viking and Skippy Moonlight is do what you did here just now, and do what you did to Southern Viking last month, and retain that Intercontinental Championship. And obviously, we want to follow our friends in BYCW. So just give a big shout out to Jason's Toy Box here. And of course, in the Hilltop Flea Market over in Crum, Tennessee. I think the flea market needed the A, but that's okay. It's all good in a bag of chips. But pretty championship there you got, huh?
Yes, that is a pretty championship. That right there, that
Yeah.
baby.
You know what? Let's get to the chat here because obviously a lot of people want to talk to you. Want to give them that opportunity before I move to my next guest here. And yes, finally I'm here, and hope it's worth the wait for you. Obviously, as I stated, go back and watch the movie Money Train with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson with a young Jennifer Lopez. He still looks young, but we'll leave that at that. Plastic surgery can do a lot of things for people, but I'm not insinuating she had them. But it looks like there was a plastic object on the train in beautiful Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. But thank you, hello to Zilla, and I said hello to myself. There is the man that'll be here tomorrow. He is one half of the IMF Tag Team Champion. He's also the All Wrestling Matters Champion, as he would call himself, the Not All Wrestling Matters Champion. Soldier GP is in the house. How you doing, Soldier? I said as in front of myself what took place to why I'm late. Everybody's good. The man that'll also be here tomorrow, the High Chief himself, my High Chief, the Samoan Dragon. Yes, definitely an interesting stream. Tomorrow night, I'll have a major announcement for the show for the IMF boys. I hope everybody tunes in for that. Courtney Wood, the female version of Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller. You might be seeing her soon. How you doing, Courtney? Love our friends in law. My buddy, the Tribal Cheese, who's up at 3:41 in the morning. What exactly are you doing up at 3:41 a.m.? It doesn't matter. He's watching the BYCW Intercontinental Champion, Austin Edwards. And Skippy is here. What do you want to say to Skippy, your opponent, Skippy Moonlight? What do you want to say to him coming up next week?
Skippy, come 420 SmackDown. You and the Southern Viking, you will be assassinated, and I will retain my title.
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
you all to know that. And
Yeah. Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I thought you were going to do something here and get up and maybe go chase Skippy Moonlight. I famously had a segment before where we had two wrestlers, Joe Starr and Tyson Spade, actually do that. We'll leave that at that. Thank you, Courtney. The host of the Dark Chronicles, maybe he's scouting future guests. Yeah, maybe that's the way he's going. The legendary Dark Chron, the underground OG of ROEW, is here, also a part of the foundation. And yes, we know Skippy Moonlight. The legendary Blade of BYW is back, and he's back in the yard. And he might be scouting future opponents and future shows on to come back to Sportswire. And he makes a great point. He's a multiple-time tag team champion. He's held gold here, and he's held more gold than than you've held. And what do you say to that?
Just because you held one title, I held two. Just to be on a funny side, I've held just one more than you, and I'm currently undefeated. If you go back and watch
Yep.
those matches,
Yeah.
I am currently undefeated.
So what does that mean to you to basically be our backyard and underground version of Goldberg? I mean, you are basically the backyard and underground wrestling version of Goldberg. I mean, you might want to say who's next, and maybe you should come out and go, you're next. I mean, maybe you should get like a Doug Dillinger. I mean, maybe James Taylor, instead of wrestling on the trampoline, could come out there with you, maybe get some pyrotechnics and, maybe should, knock on the, whatever the door is that comes out in the BYCW arena. And, maybe that's what we should be calling you, Edwards instead of Goldberg. We'll do Edwards, Edwards, Edwards. We'll have James come out there, hold up the pyro. Maybe your opponent will even do it. I don't know.
They might even get just a little bit intimidated.
Oh, okay. They're going to be. Well, we'll have to find out. And you need to become not the 4, but the 5-time tag champs. Much love for what you do. Thank you very much. Omen Black wanted to give his critique. He's the IMF champion. He'll be here tomorrow night, so don't you worry about that. He'll have plenty to say, and he'll have a lot to say about Sean Joby. He's kicking things off tomorrow night. Speaking of people who's here, James Taylor, and I wanted to get your opinions on James Taylor because James, obviously, you're sharing a locker room with, and he's now next for Dalton Skull. Dalton's had his own challenges, and James Taylor returned to the trampoline for the first time in 21 years. And what was your thoughts on James Taylor and Dalton Skull? What's going to happen here to take place soon? And also, what's your thoughts on James Taylor's return to the trampoline last week on BYCW TV?
Okay, the face-off that they had when they looked eye to eye, you should have been the
Yeah.
atmosphere. It was just shaking, like you could feel the attention from these two.
Yeah.
And with James Taylor,
yes,
coming to BYCW, that's an honor, and that's a trying to think of another
You're
word.
obviously honored to have shared a locker room with him. James has obviously been a well-traveled guy. He's been in multiple places, obviously major social media following, owns a company in ROEW, and obviously has come here with his resume, obviously also an older gentleman that is obviously experienced in life. And you're a young guy starting out here in the yard in the underground, and you certainly look to James for advice and everything else that he would bring, and not only for your career, but the rest of the BYCW locker room.
He brings a lot. He comes out there and he goes, all right, whatever y'all want to work on, I'll be happy to help. And
Okay.
it was great for me because I've actually learned a lot from James Taylor. Thank you for that.
What has he helped you with?
He's helped me with like getting the bumps right, because with my bumps I land just a little bit too hard. Like I try to sell like a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts me, but
Mm-hmm.
he's actually like taught me like how to do like the proper back bump and face bump and the rolls. So he's actually helped me, and the two that is wrestling right there,
Mm-hmm.
Red Demon.
Yep.
He's he's helped me too, and so has Maverick Knight. Maverick Knight has helped
Yes.
me a
Obviously,
very
two
lot.
guys that have done a lot here in BYCW. And what's your thoughts then on James and Dalton? Obviously, Dalton's the PWF Uprising champion. This is a championship that James has challenged for in the past. James is also challenged for the other PWF championship, and we've spoken a lot about that on Sportswire. I have no doubt that James will be back here on Sportswire Radio very, very soon. And what's your opinions on that match?
Man, that match is going to be one hell of a match. I just wish somebody would have told me like, hey, Dalton's tough. He's
You've
gonna get.
beaten Dalton Skull. Maybe you should give advice to James Taylor. You've been in there with Dalton. You've defeated him. Maybe James should be asking you advice in terms of what he needs to do on that trampoline. Maybe James really should be the one that's asking you for advice.
You're right, but I feel like since he knows Dalton like a lot better than I
He's
do.
shared locker rooms with him in companies that, we will not mention, but yes.
Yes. So he he might end up having, but James, I'm sorry. I respect you a lot, buddy, but I don't know, man. You and Dalton, y'all just gonna tear the roof down.
I think they are. Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of people would say that Dalton is younger, he's quicker, he's stronger than James. Others think that James is got the experience, he's got the veteran institution in terms of what he needs to do intuitively in there, and he's savvy, he's street smart, but will that translate to being trampoline smart? James has only had one match in the trampoline in 21 years, and Dalton has been doing this for a while, and he's done both. And it's a match that a lot of people are eagerly anticipating, and I cannot wait to see it and talk about it. We're watching James's match here from his long-awaited return to the trampoline, which was very successful here after a 21-year layoff in the trampoline. And of course, James Taylor will be a topic, I have no doubt, this weekend when Natural Selection gets inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And thank you, Skippy, and hello to Omen. Yes, Remy Roberts is here, the Cajun Cruiser, and what are we doing? Yep, we're doing good. We're talking, and thank you very much. Yes, it's I appreciate the compliments. We will certainly take them. And if you like to give us a sub, give us a follow. Appreciate that very much. I've only been in the heavy metal version of Rolling Stone not once but twice. Stay tuned for more. Wink and a nod. And Rhino and Savio Vega have been here, so appreciate that. Everybody's doing well. Give a sub to BYCW. We would appreciate that very much. Soldier's obviously very impressed with you. He's been very impressed with your run here in the ring. And I think a lot of people tonight are extremely impressed with you and everything you are doing. And, Soldier feels like that he's obviously going to have to struggle to continue his legacy to compete with yours. But hey, listen, everybody's trying their best, and that's what we love. We love everybody here. And yep, big props. I agree with you on that. Absolutely. Everybody has to overcome odds and obstacles, and what you are doing, sir, is definitely inspirational. And speaking of people that are talking about 420, we have the whole monitor of Sportswire Radio, the first real wrestler, and the man that'll probably be getting a lot of frequent flyer miles in the next week or so. Stay tuned for that. That is Justin Parsley, the man that is the 8-time Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer. And he is the other PWF champion, by the way. He is the other PWF champion. He is also the King of Palo winner, and he's one half of the IMF Tag Team Champions, and he definitely loves the smoke. And Remy, speaking straight facts, I do love the work that we have here with Austin Edwards. Austin is doing a great job. We love Austin Edwards. You should too. And hell yes. We will see. We got Chase Wakefield. What do you think about this guy, Chase Wakefield? Apparently, he wants to have a wrestling super show on the day he's getting married. I mean, could you imagine doing that? What do you think?
I think that'd be pretty cool to see, honestly.
Yeah, you're Edwards. I mean, I'm not even calling you Austin anymore. You're Edwards, Edwards, Edwards. So, I mean, listen, who knows, but yeah. Owen is speaking on my promos. Okay, I don't know enough about that. Here we go. Yep, there we go. Our friends in BYCW are here. Management is here, and James Taylor is obviously having a lot to talk about. And, tramporing, yeah. And appreciate you, Mr. Edwards. And obviously, I think I know who's here. And you want to say anything about your former tag partner now that we were building to that moment?
I'm glad I got my lick back.
Oh well, we're glad we have you here. We're glad you're here, and there you go. Hit the sub button for us, and well, we'll figure that out. I am currently the longest reigning FCW champion, and next year I'll be taking my talents to Michigan and maybe even Tennessee. Do you want to see more talent come into BYCW? I know there's a recent talent that's come into BYCW from Georgia. I was wondering what you thought about that person in particular who holds a tag team championship alongside the man that James Taylor is wrestling. You want to say a thought or two about that, maybe?
Yes, I do. Thank
Good, good.
you, Mr. Blackheart.
Ooh,
Next time we meet, 1-on-1, you can have whoever, but just know what you did to me after mine and your match. I'm coming back after you. Just know that I have a raven watching over
ooh,
every single step of the way.
ooh. So you really still got him on your mind still.
Yes, he's been he's been trying to play mind games.
He's come in here like you, and he's come in here. He's got a lot of size. I know who he is. I know him from some other places he's been, and he's certainly made some waves, putting it kindly.
Yes, he has made some big waves. He's man, he's a hitter. He can
I know him actually from where he came from, and I've seen him, where he's wrestled. I mean, I know this man very well, but focus though, I would think though on next week in keeping the Intercontinental Championship. But he would be a test for you if you're able to retain that championship and stay undefeated. I mean, you and Blackheart. I mean, that streak. I mean, Edwards versus Blackheart. I mean, you don't even need first names.
man. It's gonna be rough, Tom.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna I'm not gonna pull anything to the side, but
Yeah, don't do that. Don't pull anything. Don't pull any punches, because we're live, baby.
but all in all, it's gonna be a tough challenge. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
Me too. I definitely can't wait as well. And, obviously we're excited and we'll put some more footage up here in a minute. And yes, we love Zilla. And yeah, definitely we'll put another one of your matches up there. We'll see what I can get in the interest of time. So thank you for that. Yes, we'll definitely go into that shortly. But let's get to some more comments first. Pretty much I appreciate that very much. He'll be seeing him back on the platform soon. And yeah, James hits a stunner. And maybe if you're lucky, if James finds a way to win that championship, champion versus champion. I mean, do you want James to hang around in BYCW? Because that's a big question right now. Will James be a part of BYCW going forward? What do you think on that? If you retain your Intercontinental Championship, and if James is ever so lucky to win the PWF Uprising Championship, what do you think about that, champion versus champion?
I think it'll be very motive, like not motive, but very
Motivating. It would be very motivational for you. You'd obviously be hyped up for it. You'd obviously want an opportunity to challenge James Taylor and champion versus champion. That's definitely something that could be on your bucket list for sure. No question that would be something that you would really like. And, I think that a lot of people would potentially want to see that. And definitely it's something that I think people might want to keep an eye out on. And, we'll get to some more comments in a minute, so definitely keep an eye on that. And definitely everyone is welcome to BYCW. I agree with that. I know you're out. We're going to get to a few more comments. We'll definitely do that. And who else we got here? I wouldn't mind being on a trampoline again. It's been almost since a decade that I last was on a trampoline. It would be pretty fun. Yeah, why not? Wish there was a backyard wrestling company in Louisiana. I'd bring some Cajun ass kicking to the backyard. I mean, how far is Louisiana from Tennessee? You have any idea?
I believe it's like 3 or 4 hours away.
Oh, you
I'm
know
not
what?
really.
That'd be interesting. That'd be fun. Maybe you guys can figure it out. I don't know. That'd be
Yeah,
fun. It'd be great. Who knows? More people in BYCW, and why not? Why the heck not? I mean, BYCW is definitely a place for all. And I did put the match up here for the people in that 1,000 subscriber special show that Austin and Dalton had. We'll keep that up for a few minutes, and we'll get to our next guest. Who else we got here? Make kids chase, then jump on the trampoline with them in their childhood. Let's get Chase married first. Let's get the guy married first. But fan opinions, well, I don't know about that, but we're watching a war here right now. What are your memories of this match with you and Dalton?
man, that match when I got told that I was facing Dalton,
Legend, yeah.
it kind of scared me a little bit because it
Yeah.
was my first singles match. I was just worried, and he took care of me, but he gave me a beating though. He wasn't gonna. He wasn't
Well,
gonna.
Dalton's been in this game a long time. He's went through a lot, and he wasn't going to make your life easy. That's certainly no question about that. And this is what James Taylor is going to have to deal with here soon in BYCW. Maybe James will change his mind and instead want to deal with Jason Storm and deal with Natural Selections, Alex Cross, and Cash Carter. But certainly Dalton pulls no punches. Yep.
No, he does not. He's a hard hitter as well.
He is. I know Dalton. I've had him on my platform. He's definitely somebody that, he's a veteran. He's well respected in the yard and the underground. He's done some stuff in different places. And Dalton is a guy that commands a lot of respect. And really, that chair shot was just a devastating chair shot. But Dalton and James certainly command a lot of respect. I think they're a lot more similar than people realize. They are two people that have been doing this a long time in our community, and they're two men that are pillars of our community, and they're going to battle here for a championship. What do you think, though, if the winner of this match would potentially want to unify the PWF championship with this guy here, Justin Parsley? What do you think about that? Should there be one PWF champion, or you have a thought or two on that as a BYCW guy?
I haven't thought about that really much.
Well, you know what? You focus on Skippy Moonlight and Southern Viking, and you definitely want to do that. I know that before we get to a few more thoughts here, if you are here on YouTube, you got to go hit that sub button for BYCW. We love BYCW here. We've honored BYCW before in the past, and Austin, I definitely can't wait to honor you here more often. I'm looking forward to having you on here after April 20th. We have a lot to talk about here, and I am excited about 420 SmackDown. BYCW, I mean, the subscribers have almost doubled, I think, since you've come to the company. Maybe some would say you're responsible for that. I don't know. But BYCW, with guys like you, Blackheart, that are in the roster now, James Taylor coming here, BYCW is definitely becoming a place to be. And you and Dalton are just battling here, man. This is just a war. This reminds me of, we were playing, the Duck Duck Goose when I was growing up in Brooklyn. We had no wrestling ring or trampoline, but we were definitely doing our own version of Duck Duck Goose, running around the neighborhood. But we're not going to run around and do Duck Duck Goose anymore. But let me ask you, though, if you were to be here right now and have any final words for Skippy Moonlight and Southern Viking, what would they be?
Good luck, boys.
Oh my God! He said just good luck. He's just being just like Gober. That's what you should do going forward in BYCW. You don't need to do much of the talking. You're just gonna go out there with that killer instinct. Just go out there with those deadly chair shots, jumping off the trampoline, giving us those hard-hitting punches. Just everything that you do that shows why you're one of the up-and-coming stars in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit and one of the heavy hitters. And just Dalton is going off like there's no tomorrow. And Dalton just is like the Jeff Hardy of the backyard in the wrestling circuit. You think about James Taylor, and sure, he's been in there in the ring with this legend and that legend, but he hasn't been in there with Dalton Skull. And Dalton Skull is fired up, and Dalton Skull, all he hears about is James Taylor and James Taylor. But Dalton Skull is going to show everybody why he's the king of BYCW. Why, he's the king and the ruler of the PWF Uprising Championship. And boy, if Austin Edwards has his way, maybe he'll even be facing off for that PWF Uprising Championship against the winner. But first, he's got to get through Skippy, Moonlight, and Southern Viking. We're going to have to certainly find out. And definitely, you're going to want to find out, but you want to watch much like this. Yes, a big fan of Skinny Moonlight is here, though. A big fan of Skippy Moonlight. Yeah, he's not skinny, but you might want a skinny, but that'll be on 420. But, yes, we'll have to find out. But what are you going to do now? The Skippy fans are out right now.
The Skippy fans are out. Well,
yeah, Skippy fans are here.
I'm sorry to tell you, I'm truthfully and honorably sorry, but you're Skippy Moonlight, and if anybody's a fan of the Southern Viking, just know you're next.
Oh, he said you're next. He's adapting to it. You're next. You're next. Well, your back just said you're next to that guitar. And, how painful was that guitar?
That guitar was painful.
It looked like you took it out of tune. Let's just say Eddie Van Halen or Jimi Hendrix, God rest their souls, we're not going to be playing with that guitar. But you did do enough to get a roll-up here on Dalton, and you got a big victory. And there you go. Just like it could be next weekend, you could have a victory, and that was definitely one little victory, and it was worth the guitar shot, and big victory, and continued your amazing run.
Thank you. I will most definitely continue it for a while.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to certainly find out. So let me give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say? And definitely, this was certainly quite the interview, eagerly anticipated. Can't wait to put that clip up on social media of you talking. And, obviously Dalton's not happy. And Dalton's going to certainly, I think, do some of this to James Taylor coming up here. So you'll have to obviously see what is to come. And James Taylor, we're looking at you. But definitely until then, we have the reigning defending BYCW Intercontinental Champion. Just call him Edwards. Not even Austin Edwards. He is just Edwards, and he is going to definitely be a plentiful and handful, you might want to say, for Skippy, Moonlight, and Southern Viking. And he doesn't have to talk. He's just going to put it out there all on that trampoline coming up at 420 SmackDown. We're all excited about it. You should be too. I can't wait. Definitely. Until then, my friend, I want to pass the baton to you. You have any closing thoughts tonight?
Just if anybody's out there that's got anything wrong with them, just don't let it get to you. Y'all got this.
Yes, you come here to Sportswire. You come here to Prime Time, one of the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform where certainly Rhino's been. Think about it. The chair you're in right now. Rhino's been here, the last ECW champion, some would say, the last TNA Impact Wrestling Hall of Famer, Savio Vega, the man that was responsible for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Doug Pennick of King's X just opened for Tool in the Dominican Republic a couple weeks ago, opened up Woodstock 2, opened up for AC/DC on the Razor's Edge Tour, their second biggest album right after Back in Black. Pearl Jam Versus opened for them. Some would say he grew up with Dimebag Darrell, Vinnie Paul, Phil Anselmo, Rex Brown of Pantera, opened up for Motley Crue. I mean, he was here. Randy Jackson, the hot band Zebra, fastest selling album of any debut band for Atlantic Records history, and you're in that chair. So definitely the best is yet to come. And if you want to check out more BYCW, definitely YouTube. Check out more footage from them. You're going to see the eagerly anticipated match between Dalton Skull and James Taylor for the PWF Uprising Championship. James will be here for that. You've got Austin Edwards in action coming up for that Intercontinental Championship coming up here against Skippy, Moonlight, and Southern Viking. And my friend, thank you so much for all you do for our sport. Can't wait to see you soon here, and definitely keep rolling with those punches. And we will see, and we'll just refer to you as Edwards going forward.
Alrighty. Well,
that was Edwards, the BYCW Intercontinental Champion, who'll be in action here, guys, next weekend for 420 SmackDown from BYCW. So, my friend, thank you so much, and we'll get to our next guest here for a few minutes. I'll see you soon, and keep up the good work.
You too. See ya.
All right, that was the BYCW Intercontinental Champion Edwards, who will be in action for BYCW's 420 SmackDown. Speaking of people here, they're going to probably rolling up. You're going to roll up something on 420, right? No? No?
No, I'm straight edge.
Oh, well, you know what? I was actually asked that before I came on the air. People said, I don't, the only thing I have is this. I need plenty of this tonight. But what's your name again, apparently? Right? It's Courtney, right? Just Courtney? Or no, because now my guest
Just
before,
Courtney.
now, my guest before, his last name was Edwards. He's referring to himself as Edwards, but you're doing just the first name. So your name going forward is just Courtney, right? Not calling you Wood. Has anybody ever told you might be related to Ronnie Wood, the guitarist of the Rolling Stones? You ever get that?
Never once.
Well, now you just got it. But obviously, an interesting just first 40 plus minutes or so with Edwards. But how are you tonight? I know that you've seen some wrestling since we last spoke, and you wrote an article that was certainly very methodical, very well thought of. We'll talk about it. And how are you here tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you
That's good.
doing?
I think my earlier part of the evening was like the movie Money Train with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. I was on the train here in New York City, and the train just stopped moving, and
Wow.
it didn't move. But obviously, you're here, and let's talk for a few minutes about what you saw at Express Wrestling first. The Express Wrestling, did I see or did I read it correctly that there's a new champion that came on my platform last week?
Yes, sir. Godric Sanwell is the new Express Wrestling Three Rivers champion.
And
What
he
a
was the first one
performance.
in there. First one in that every man for themselves battle roll there.
Mm-hmm. Berg Brawl, which is like an institution here. 25 years.
Yep, a history. Obviously, Express Wrestling, 31 years now going on, and Godric certainly went through a lot there, which will tie into what I'm going to talk about next with you. But has he finally got now the opportunity to say that Jace Carr is in the rearview mirror?
It was a chaotic finish. So early, Jace Carr was actually number 2 in Berg
I know
Brawl.
that we talked about it here, 1 and 2.
Yeah. So he faked an injury because he had the legit problem with his ankle.
Yeah.
So he got injured pretty early and got taken out. And then when Godric outlasted everybody, he thought he had won. But then Jace Carr came out of nowhere with a light tube.
Yep.
Fortunately, Brian Anthony came in and de-armed him. But then Godric got it and smacked him right in the head.
Yeah,
Glass powder went everywhere.
Yeah, I think that there's, Godric has certainly went through a lot, and I guess the question will be is, has he finally gotten Jace, like I said, Jace Carr out of the rearview mirror? I think that's going to be the big question going forward here in Express Wrestling. Certainly, the fans have wanted Godric to be back as Three Rivers champion, and after a 6-month detour, he does win the belt.
Yeah, they went nuts. The "You deserve it" chants just echoed all the way through that building.
Big crowd there, I'd imagine, over there in 2125 Beacon Street.
Mm-hmm.
Big crowd.
Godric, being who Godric was a little, taken back by it. He didn't feel quite deserving, but, he worked so hard for so many months fighting Jace Carr, and then he outlasted 30 people. Like, you definitely deserve it. You definitely earned it.
What was that like watching just Godric go number 1 and then having to go through all of those different people? What was, watching that and how intense that was and how difficult that was to watch a match where 30 people are in it and he's the first one in and has to go through all of that to win a championship? What's that like watching and covering it?
It felt like apropos of everything that he's been going through, where he started at the bottom and has to fight has to climb mountains to get wherever goal he's getting, like trying to reach. Like, it just seemed appropriate for his journey.
Well, obviously that's going to be something that we'll be watching eagerly here, and Godric will be back on April the 29th, one day before, this little event that you're going to definitely be there for in Parkersburg, West Virginia, called Legit Alternative Wrestling Cease and Desist. And you wrote an article, young lady, certainly talking about the whole history between Godric Sandwell and La El Shaddai. And I mean, it looks like here it finally comes to a head. And, let's talk about that. Obviously, like I said, Godric will be here on the 29th. He will be here about 24 hours or even less than that before he gets a crack at winning the Legit Alternative Wrestling Championship. And we know what happened last week. We spoke about it with you on Thursday, and it all comes to a head, and you wrote quite a bit about it.
Yeah, that was a really cool project. I felt a match this big deserved like a reflection to figure out like how we got here. It was a very interesting story, so I really wanted to tell it properly.
And it's a story that really, I mean, it's more than just personal. I mean, obviously, it's a story that really, with these two men, it's definitely been, I think one of your words was, it's just been chaotic. It's been a chaotic situation here now, that this is now going on over 3 months, and it'll obviously, rear its head one more time here on April the 30th.
Yeah, there's threads of this story going from the beginning of LAW, and that's what I talked about in the article, is that people really don't get Godric's motivation, because you got to be kind of crazy to want to fight Lel Shaddai
Yep.
multiple
Not his
times.
style. It's not his style. It's
Mm-mm.
definitely not in his wheelhouse. La El Shaddai didn't really have any issue with him. It all started with Pepper Pride, and then it obviously led into other things. And then we saw what happened. Well, we spoke about it. You'll watch it on FUTV, I'm sure, between now and what's coming up on the 30th of April. But really, I mean, this didn't involve Godric Sandwell at first, and now it's turned into what it has turned in here these past couple of months.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the history with Pepper Pride. They had a really competitive match,
Yep.
but you could just tell Godric was not comfortable. Every time he would perform a move on her, he would just go like, "Stay down," like pleading with her, because he really is a gentleman. But
Not his
Pepper
style. I've
Pride.
watched him quite a bit. Listen, you see him, you're in person, you see him, but this is, I talked about it with him last week. It's not his style. It's not who Godric Sandwell is.
No, he was definitely uncomfortable. But, I think that's another part of his story, is that he's getting out of his comfort zone. But the biggest takeaway from that match is the mutual respect these two have found for each other. You've heard a lot of wrestlers say the cliche that they respect those that they've done battle with. And it's something like that between those two.
Really? So you would say that despite Tommy Hara, New Religion, all of this, that these two men actually have a mutual respect for each other?
I was actually referring to Godric and Pepper Pride,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because I
but
was like, okay.
I would have to say Godric would be lying if he had not
Well,
gotten a
Godric
little
would
bit
say,
more
he would
respect
say,
for.
yeah, well, listen, Godric, as we're here with just Courtney, who, of course, is our female Dave Meltzer and Wade Keller. She is somebody that reports and writes up on independent wrestling shows, places like Legit Alternative Wrestling and I guess Express Wrestling, the West Virginia Wrestling Federation, a slew of those other places. But if you'd like to give a sub to Legit Alternative Wrestling, I've actually put up their YouTube link right now. So check them out. We'll have some more coverage of them over the next couple of weeks. So you can check out some of the action and do that right here. And we'll
Oh,
put
there's
this.
Pepper. Yeah.
I put it up. I know Pepper Pride. I always talk about it all the time. She comes out of Rhino's Insane Wrestling Revolution. She comes out of she's those guys I know like James Fury, Sam Eljami that have been on my platform. And yeah, Pepper's definitely not one to mess with, but obviously Godric went out there and he definitely had a lot of respect for Pepper, no question. But Godric and La El Shaddai, I don't think they're going to be exchanging Christmas cards anytime soon. But get your preferred beverage out and watch the match, which I'm sure you will have your preferred beverage coming up on the 30th of April. So let me ask you, though, this. Do you think that what cease and desist will bring between these two men, will this kind of be the last of it? Will we finally get closure or a conclusion this time? And who will walk away with that legit alternative wrestling world heavyweight championship? And who will be, let's just say, the winner and the true champion?
Well, I was pretty confident that Godric was going to win this time, like the
Yes,
previous time.
well, Tommy Titan said it. Obviously, Michael McMoney said it. I mean, Godric was certainly giving one of his most passionate promos he's ever done here in his career. I mean, there was no question. A lot of people really thought that he was going to do it, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. We didn't have a winner. We didn't have a winner.
But we also did not have a loser. And I think that's
true,
one
too.
thing that
That's
we
true.
need to talk about.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that we didn't have a winner. We didn't have a loser, but we would like to obviously have closure on the 30th of April.
Right, and I think that's a huge concern of LAW's council, which is why they said that they're going to make some kind of special stipulation that has yet to be announced. So I assume everybody on the council is going to address that to ensure that we do have a winner.
I think that's obviously going to be something that we're going to certainly pay attention to closely, and I think that we'll certainly have Godric on. By at that point, we'll know what the stipulations are. I mean, you have any inclinations on what you think they'll be or what the council will wind up deciding to kind of even the odds and keep it fair for both competitors? What's your thoughts on that?
That's a really tough decision. Probably something like the New Religion and Tommy Horror barred from ringside. Maybe like a.
They could, but maybe they don't do that. Maybe they go into a total different direction. Nobody really knows, but I mean, it's got to be something that keeps both sides happy, I would think, right?
You would think so. I would think more so the objective would be to have a winner, though. Because, like, Godric, I think, is just happy to get his shot again. And, Shaddai is just happy to beat somebody up. The only person not happy is Tommy Horror, who has most likely flipped cars, knowing that Godric got a second title shot.
Well, because he feels that Lar El Shaddai walked out with the championship and we should move on to the next competitor. We should move on to the next person. And it's a moot point. It's a done deal. I mean, that's what he's probably going to be thinking from his vantage point right now.
Well, it's hard to tell what Tommy's thinking. I mean, he'll tell you that he's the champion. Like, that's how delusional and far gone he is.
We've talked about that on prior shows. I mean, we've definitely talked about that. And, it's obviously something that we'll pay attention to. But to me, I said it last week, Godric he's got to eventually win the big one. And right now, he's on the clock, and this is obviously the biggest opportunity. You and I were talking off the air yesterday, and I said that to me, this is probably the biggest match of Godric's career coming up here in April because of what's on the line, what's at stake. It's a world heavyweight championship. Godric talked about also how important it is to him when he was here. So to me, I mean, like, this is the biggest match of Godric's career coming up, I believe, because of
absolutely.
What's on the line. No?
Yeah, I mean, the stakes could not be higher. I do think the biggest advantage is that he's no longer facing the unknown.
He's been there. He understands what he's getting into, so that'll help him prepare. But there really isn't much to prepare for La El Shaddai.
See, that's a good point too. So it's kind of like, which is it?
I don't know. I mean, he's going to tell us here when he's here in 20 days. I mean, he's going to talk about that. I mean,
yeah, you definitely have to ask him that question because
we're going to talk about Express Wrestling. I would imagine that match will be up, that we can get a chance to watch that with Godric. We're going to get a chance to obviously watch Legit Alternative Wrestling's FUTV episodes to see what Godric had to say there. And we'll talk about all of that. We're here with Courtney Wood. We're here for a little while longer. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're here, go hit the follow button for Legit Alternative Wrestling. Also, check us out here on Sportzwire Radio on YouTube. Also, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on X, Instagram, a whole bunch of other social media platforms. And tomorrow or today, now New York time, I'll be here with a slew of your favorites from the IMF, who is getting ready for their Cyber Slam show. I've already donated 2 tickets to that show. I'll be donating 1 ticket coming up here. I've donated 1 to the coming show here for Legit Alternative Wrestling. Let's just say, I'll do very good legally from the finance department in about a couple of days. So we'll be able to generously donate a ticket or 2. So let's just say, yes, today was a good day. Last time you were here, the stock market went like this. Today it went back up, and let's just say I've heard apparently also through some other avenues that we'll be collecting some more revenue from Uncle Sam. So let's just say I'll be back to being almost a millionaire. But let's leave that at that. But maybe I could buy a wrestling company one day. But we got enough of a hard time on Sportswire. All right, so obviously Godric, we'll talk a lot about him. And we'll talk a lot about Express Wrestling winning the Three Rivers Championship again. Anything else that you have an eye on that you're covering, or could be anywhere, anything else that's on your mind you want to talk about for a few minutes?
Express Wrestling started off with the return of William Renee.
Oh, I know William Renee. I know him.
Yeah, he is a scumbag. He is a terrible person. I have said it for years, and people are gonna see it. And he started to show his true colors when he kicked Van Strader in the balls. I have said it forever that William Renee is trash, and he's finally not hiding it anymore.
Well, he's just showing his true colors.
But will I get credit for knowing this before everyone else? No.
I mean, you can get credit with me on Sportswire. I don't know about everybody else. You'd have to ask them that question. I mean, I don't
everyone's all like, "We love Will. You're just mean." No, he is a bad person.
Well, he's got a bad reputation, to quote the damn Yankees. I mean, as Jack Blade's famous, I've got a bad reputation. Well, I mean, obviously, we're not going to go into karaoke here. Stay tuned for Monday's show. But, I guess that's something that you stand on a soapbox for.
I've said it very, very loud for a very long time. I've been anti-William Renee for years. And now the rest of the world is just going to get caught up. Speaking of which, unfortunately, I was not able to make it down to WVWF.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, you went to Express Wrestling rather than WVWF. That's what we really spoke about last week on the show, but you went to Express Wrestling.
I know, and I'm beating myself up because my women's champion is now everybody's recognized women's champion in the fabulous.
Maybe you won because you didn't show up. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Maybe if me not being there allowed her to become champion, then I'm happy that I was able to help.
Well, I mean,
I wish I could have been there to rub it in everybody's face that I'd called that. I'd said she was going to be champion. She said she was going to be champion, and she finally is.
Well, you know what? Win's a win. And, I think that's obviously something that you spoke about quite a bit. Let me get to a few comments. Zilla wanted to say congratulations to Godric Sandwell. She still loves, likes, respects, and that's a mouthful there. Godric Sandwell and William Renee. Yeah, William Renee. I think she spelled it wrong, but that's okay. And
Renee's garbage.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that at that. But obviously, we weren't going to ask you about Max Hammer, but I'll leave also that at that.
That guy had the weirdest performance I've ever seen somebody do in a battle royal.
Well, at least he and Andrew Lovelace were in action. At least he and Andrew Lovelace were in action.
Andrew Lovelace at least competed.
Yeah.
Max Hammer sat on the outside eating bananas, drinking chocolate milk.
Maybe the banana was really good. Maybe that
two bananas. It was 2.
Maybe. Well, bananas have what? Potassium in there?
Yes.
Maybe that's why he was having a banana. He wanted more potassium. I mean, listen, I was told as a kid, you got to eat bananas. I never ate the bananas. I was always like, bananas were like, maybe want to throw up. I mean, but he enjoys them. I should have listened to when my mother would try to feed me bananas. She would say, you got to have banana. It's good. And I would say, no, I wanted pizza or something else. And that's why, I am what I am. But fairly for Max
Banana
Hammer, it's banana time. Maybe it's banana time instead of hammer time.
bananas are very good if you have like muscle issues like cramps. But
Yeah.
beyond that, like it was just an odd choice.
Well, I guess it's something
I
he
don't
wanted.
I don't get it.
He's what he wanted, but it's what he wanted.
I will say I had a pretty fun night. It is a live show,
Yes.
obviously, and their mic did not work after
Oh,
intermission.
did you maybe want to volunteer and go up there with the mic?
I went out there, I volunteered my services, and I yelled the countdown
Oh,
10, 9 for everybody.
well, I mean,
So Tommy just had me in the corner, just every 60 seconds, just screaming.
well,
10,
to
9,
quote
8.
Judas Priest, you were screaming for vengeance. I mean, definitely. Who would have
It
guessed?
was, it was funny.
Express wrestling shows are definitely interesting. We
Yeah.
talk about them from time to time, and they have a show coming up, I think, in the month of May, and maybe you'll be there. Who knows?
We'll see.
All right.
I did hear
What?
that one Mr. Michael McMoney had a very special challenge at WVWF.
Well,
He had a lot of things to say on your platform
yes, he
about
did.
how he's been treated down there,
We talked
and
about it
now
quite a bit. Yes, he did.
yeah, apparently he is having an open challenge.
Well, these open
So
challenges
anybody,
certainly lead to a lot.
yeah, he said he's calling out anybody that thinks he's the best. As he told you, he was their champion for like 4.5, 5 years almost.
Yep.
So he feels he has the rightful claim of the best. So he said if there's anybody else that thinks that they're better than him, step up. That's pretty bold.
Well, he's a bold man. He's definitely got a lot on his mind, and he's had reasons that were certainly, from his vantage point, justifiable. We'll certainly have to find out. I mean, we'll be covering it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely have him on there to see like if his mouth got him into a little bit more trouble
Yeah, I
than
mean, I'll try to get as many people as I can on here. I had somebody message me and said, "Oh, you should have had more people on." But I said I got here late, and we'll do another one of these Sunday nights. Maybe I really will stick to the 10-minute rule Sunday night. I will maybe we'll get like 10 people on and see if. But I always. We'll have to find out. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. I'll have McMoney back on. McMoney, I think McMoney will be back on before the 30th because we got what 21 days. And I'm on there.
hopefully without Tim Titan.
We'll find out. And I'm echoing.
He's not very happy with me that I said all that about him.
I'm coming on your end. I'm actually heard on your. Do you hear that?
See?
We should maybe we need. Let's see if this here. Test. It's on your end. You have something in the background. Mute.
No?
Well, then maybe this might be the to end the show here. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, just keep an eye on LAW social media for the official announcement by the council to see what stipulation's going to be for Godric and Shaddai. We'll see what kind of nonsense if Tommy Horde tries to stop it.
We'll find out. We'll definitely find out. And obviously, we'll have to fix that on the background. But, if you are here, you'd like to follow Law, they're on Instagram. You check them out. And we'll have more coverage of it throughout the next few days. So, we look forward to that. Thank you as always. I really enjoyed the article. Always bothered me to read your article. I'll read all of them. I'll read all the articles. So, it was really good. It was really well thought. If you want to read that article, by the way, you could actually check it out on Courtney's Facebook page or also the Facebook page of Legit Alternative Wrestling. So, hope you check that out. I hope to see you here soon, and maybe we can fix that technical difficulties because I am coming in twice, which is always an issue. But hopefully that'll be fixed here tomorrow night for the IMF. And thank you as always.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to mute here while I do the closing thoughts. So thank you, everybody here, for tuning in. We want to thank Edwards, just Edwards, the BYCW Intercontinental Champion. And I also want to thank just Courtney. Boy, what an ironic show tonight. We had one guest who ends the show with his last name. We have another one who starts here with just the first name. But first name, last name, doesn't matter. We'll be here tomorrow night. We'll be here around 9:30 to 10 o'clock Eastern time with the IMF pre-show coverage for CyberSlam. We want to thank everybody here for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, do me a favor. Go hit that sub button for us. Hit the sub button for our friends at Legit Alternative Wrestling, also in BYCW. And check out Courtney's articles. She's had a hell of them. Slam Wrestling, obviously, that was an amazing piece she wrote talking about all the stuff there in Scotland. Scotland wrestling documentary. Didn't realize it would hit that many people, but she certainly did a great job there. She had a great job in the article talking about Godric Samuel and Lyle Shai. So check all of that here. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Also, stay tuned tomorrow night. I will have an announcement, a major announcement for a guest coming on during our show with the guys in the IMF. Thank you so much. And I'll see everybody here tomorrow. Have a great night.